Hello and welcome to Chapter 16, Mobile Device Security. Okay, again, I just want to remind you that I'm going to ask you to copy a few notes and submit them as homework. All right? All right, so mobile devices attacks, they include web network attacks, malware, social engineering attacks, data loss, and data theft, and so on. So, whatever you could do to a workstation, you can pretty much do to a mobile device. By the way, before we even go any further, just want to remind you that these are really a summary of the chapter notes. And in the video, I'm really summarizing the summary. So it is really important for you to read these notes in details and probably at least read the chapter once. And like I said earlier, in another chapter, have the voice activated PDF to read the chapter if you don't like reading. But at least you should read the chapter to get a good insight. And hopefully when we do the labs, we don't really have a lot of labs on the mobile device security. But yeah, we don't, unfortunately, some hands-on. Maybe in the future we'll do that, but it's not, I don't have any labs available. But anyway, so just make sure that you read your chapter, at least the notes, carefully. But again, because I will take questions right out of these notes for your final exam. All right, so the best access control that I recommend is the biometric backed up by a strong password. Biometric meaning, face recognitions or using your thumb to access it. But of course, you have to have a good backup, strong password because somebody can take it. They don't recognize their face, then they're going to ask you for a password, right? So, but at least when you're using the biometric, people will not be able to see you typing a password or trying to figure out, or doing keyloggers and things like that. But anyway, all right. So digital signing. What is digital signing? Excuse me. You can write this down. Digital signing is to authenticate the application and the app to authenticate the application to make sure that it's authentic. It came from the actual vendor itself. And that the app cannot be altered without being detected. So that's very important. So that's what digital signing is. Let me repeat that again, and I want you to write that down. Digital signing is to authenticate the app, and that the app cannot be altered without being detected. All right, Android devices and Apple iOSs all employ device encryptions on everything, including stored data. That's good to know. So you can write that down. Also, you should know what isolation is. Isolation is apps have limited access to the device. They don't have access to everything else. You probably, if you ever downloaded an app and you wanted to use it, they'll ask you that this app wants to access the several, different apps maybe on your device, and you'll have to either accept or not accept. All right, so moving on, let's talk about Google Android operating system. So here are the 3 points that you should know, and you should write down about Google Android. Number one, Android Incorporated was acquired by Google in 2003. Number two, rooting a device means you could root a device with Google. And what that means is you can have a root access. And what that means, you can almost do anything to the device itself. Sandboxing is also another thing that is related to Google Android devices. Sandboxing is limiting apps access to a specific portion of the system, so they can't do, just like you're putting them in a sandbox. They can only do certain things. They don't have access to everything. So if somebody tried to create an app to attack your device, won't be able to. They are really just like a virtual machine, kind of. All right, the two things that I want you to know about Apple operating systems, write that down as well, is number one, users cannot install non-Apple approved apps. And number two, the term that's really related to Apple is that jailbreaking, and jailbreaking is getting around the DRM. DRM stands for Digital Rights Management. It's getting around DRM to allow you to run anything on the device. That's something similar to like putting the device with a Google device. All right. Common problems. Let's say some common problems that may occur with a mobile device. Again, write these down. You should know. That's very important. Here are the 6 points that you should be aware of when it comes to problems with mobile devices. Number 1, no passwords are set. Very bad. Somebody can pick up your phone and open it up. That's not good, of course, right? Number 2, unprotected wireless connections. Don't ever, like I've been telling you before, ever connect to a network, to an open network, right? Like I told you earlier, we'll be able to set fake APs, access points. So don't, get excited when you're somewhere and you have a free Wi-Fi. Stay away from that. Malware, if you just want to download specific apps because they're free from somewhere, rooting or jailbreaking your device, and so you can download some apps free. Bad idea. Number 4, security software not installed. Okay, all Android and Apple phones have that already, so don't tamper with that. Out of date operating system. So if an operating system needs to be updated, you should definitely do that because hackers will typically if you have an old device that's not been supported by the vendor, and hackers will find a way to find a loophole or a vulnerability to attack your device. That's why most like Windows XP, Windows 7 devices are crackable, and you can actually hack into them. And the 6th point that I want you to know about mobile devices, the problems with mobile devices are mobile devices may be rooted or jailbroken. So remember that. You definitely don't want to do that. In practice, 2 things should happen administratively to make sure things get done right. First, policy should exist that states the responsibility of the system administrator in relation to the handling of their mobile devices. That's very important to know. And the second thing is a policy should be created and made aware to the end users so that they understand the responsibility that comes with connecting their personal devices to the network. Okay, like bring in your own device and things like that. All right, so pen testing an Android system. What kind of tools that you can use? There is the Amazing Byte, the Landroid, Network Handbook by Smoothie Education, Bing, and all of these wonderful tools that you can use. There is the session hijacking tools. You got Droid Sheep, FaceNet, SSL Strip, some of the denial service. You got the low orbit ion cannon and Android, an easy packet blaster, I guess. What else do we have here? Yeah, there's a sheep, the face strip, the SSL strip. Here's some of the denial services. And there are plenty of tools like for scanners, proxy tools, web applications. So there's a lot of tools, proxy tools, log file readers, Wi-Fi tools, pen testing suites. What else? You can look at these utilities at your own leisure, of course. We're not going to go over every single one of them, but every single one of them can be used to attack mobile devices. And you can see there's a lot of them around. And again, we don't have the capability to really do this in a lab environment, but you can take a look at these. There's plenty of YouTube videos showing you on how to use some of these tools. But again, I want to remind you, please do not pen test any device that you don't own or have authority to do so. Okay? That's illegal and, of course, unethical. All right. So Let's take a look at some countermeasures. This is very important. Here's some pens. Let's look at some countermeasures. What you need to do to build a defense. 8 points that I want you to write down. Number 1, set strong passwords to your devices. Number 2, make sure that you have installed anti-malware. Number 3, always use encryption. Number 4, harden your device with the latest operating system update if you need to. Number 5, back up your data periodically, right? Always it should be backed up. Pictures, songs, whatever, right? Number 6, avoid rooting or jailbreaking your device, okay? Don't play around because you think you got free applications somewhere that you want to download. Number 7, enable remote wipes if possible. So if you could do that, so in case you lost your phone, you can wipe and clean it out remotely. And number 8, verify that the apps before you are downloading. I think Apple does a great job with that, and even Android. Android does a pretty good job when it comes to verifying all the apps. So make sure you go to the store, to the App Store, to download anything. Don't just download them from anywhere. Especially with Android, they allow you to do that. But if you want any app, you should definitely go to the App Store to download it, because all of these apps have been verified and they have been scrutinized and gleaned over to make sure that they don't have any malware attached with them. All right, so that's that with this chapter. So please take the notes and submit them as homework, as I told you, and I'll see you on the next chapter.